One Piece chapter 1026. I've been seeing some people say that this is the best chapter of Wano so far. I'm not gonna go that far, but it's certainly up there with some of the great chapters we've gotten, just because our boy did something fantastic. And sometimes I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again, but that's just been the state of Wano this year. And even going back to last year, it's just been banger after banger after banger. And if you want to continue to enjoy banger after banger after banger, subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Drop a like, turn on post notifications. Let's talk about 1026. First, the cover art request. We have Nami and Leo in Haute Couture. This is a store that Nami and Leo owns, I'm assuming, which makes a lot of sense for several reasons. One, Leo has a devil fruit in which he can stitch things together, so that's really dope. Secondly, Nami is probably the fashionista of the series. Nami, every single arc has an amazing outfit. Out of all the strats, out of all the characters, every arc I wonder what Nami's gonna put on, and she rarely, if ever, disappoints. My favorite arc for Nami in regards to attire might be Whole Cake Island. Zoe is up there as well for me, but what are you guys' favorite arc for Nami and her outfits? Because some of them are pretty spicy. But anyway, I thought his cover art request was great. It's brilliant. It's a duo we wouldn't expect, but it makes so much sense. Now, let's talk about the actual chapter. Tama left to help the alliance. She ended up being really useful in helping out Nami and Usopp. If she didn't come at the time that she did, who knows what would have happened, but Tama was necessary for this to happen. I mean, she was the turning point, right? She changed the tides of the war initially. So that was one very important domino that had to fall. So Tama had to leave Hitetsu. So now Onigashima has come into eyesight for the capital. They can now see the island floating to them. We'll get back to that for a second, but we still have people reporting on what's going on. Now, CP0 is in Wano, so gathering intel, that's exactly what they do. They can just sit down and have this person communicate all the stuff that's going on to them, and they'll be fine. They talk about Yamato being injured on the roof, but what everyone is focusing on is the two dragons squaring off. And those two dragons were obviously Momonosuke and Kaido, but they don't know exactly what Momonosuke is because a lot of people still don't know. People on the alliance don't know what the heck is going on. I like the subtle acknowledgement of Yamato's strength, saying, well, Yamato's probably the person who was keeping Kaido at bay. And then this has been a topic of conversation in regards to Yamato. How strong is she? How many factors play into her strength? Well, I made a video about it. It's in the description box down below, but if you want to go check it out after this video, I'd be more than happy if you did. But quickly, people are trying to turn the factors that we came up with into Yamato being weak, which is definitely not the case. But how much does Yamato knowing Kaido plays into the part of her lasting that long? Now, the counter argument has been, well, Kaido knows her as well. Why does it matter when they both know each other? Well, for Kaido as an arrogant fighter, the strongest creature in the world, he's probably not concerning himself with Yamato's tendencies. I can guarantee you that. He feels like he's strong, he feels like he's durable, so nothing really phases him and it doesn't matter. So I think that's how he's going into these situations. But I think at the end of it, the semantics doesn't matter. Yamato is just really damn strong. It just gets murky when you start to try to fit her in the One Piece hierarchy, because I'm not even sure where she goes yet. This could be an indication of failure in regards to Momonosuke versus Kaido. What I mean is, every single time you're trying to figure out, why did Vegapunk call this a failure? Momonosuke can transform, he can fly, but right now he can't use blast breath. Now that may be something he develops in the future, but at this moment he's saying, hey, I don't know how to use that, so we're probably gonna have to go and figure out another way to counter this thing. What I absolutely loved about this chapter is Momonosuke and Luffy, and more so Luffy, because Luffy has stepped into a leadership role actively. Now, Luffy's a natural born leader, and we see that every single arc, how he has a command of his squad. But now in this moment for Momonosuke, he's stepping up and trying to put him in a position to succeed. Something about his fighting style as well. Normally when he transforms in regards to Gear 3rd or blowing up an arm, he's blowing into his thumb. Here it looks a bit weird, like he's blowing into his actual hand. It's hard to see, but I'm like, is this a new technique that Luffy's been training or working on? Because we don't see every single thing that Luffy's done. We more so see the outcome, and so it's hard to tell typically when a power-up will come because everything isn't shown. If one thing Luffy's gonna do though, he's going to punch Kaido to the ground, and then Kaido's gonna be there for a little while, then he's gonna get up and start rubbing his head like, well, that tickled. I like the telepathy going on between Momonosuke and Luffy, which is showing me that the voice of all things is some higher power they're using to communicate. It's really dope. But for Momonosuke right now, he's not only fighting against heights, he's fighting against his PTSD, because at that moment, he's thinking about every single experience with Kaido, and none of these these moments have been pleasant. And so for him to persevere and go through and bite Kaido no matter what, either way, based off of Luffy's recommendation, is fantastic. Again, Momonosuke is fighting through the pain, fighting through the hurt, fighting through the lack of experience. Because don't forget, guys, this is an adult Momonosuke. He has the brain of an 8-year-old, but this is an adult. But he's going to need time. He doesn't know all about all these things, so only time will tell. When he bit Kaido though, Kaido looked back like if he was slightly annoyed, well, a lot annoyed. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to do here? And for Momonosuke, for him, it seems like the motivation is his parents. He's biting Kaido while thinking about his father and mother, Oden and Toki, and how they would both be around if he was not the scumbag that he is, which is true for the most part. But based off of that slight, Luffy was able to get a free punch in on Kaido. And again, for Luffy, there's no telling how strong he is. We did talk about power scaling for Luffy yesterday because we didn't want to bog down this video with power scaling. So if you're interested in that, basically how strong Luffy is, link in the description down below. You can check that out after this video. But Luffy is casually using Ryo now, right? It's a part of his arsenal whenever he decides, because we know we're going to leave Wano, and at that point it's going to be wildly inconsistent. So I hope that's not the case, but if everyone takes a Ryo powered blow from Luffy, most aren't lasting. But as cool as this chapter is, there's a lot going on here, right? And I think the priority for this chapter was the rooftop, but Oda was using different places on the map to tell the story, to bring things all together. So they talked about the dragons calling forth storm clouds, right? I thought about Monkey D. Dragon, I'm not gonna lie. But they said because of that, that's the last of the moon they're going to see tonight. For Jack's fight and even Perospero's fight, they both almost lost because of Sulong, but then it immediately switched back. And so therefore, they were at the mercy of Perospero and Jack, because for Sulong, again, it makes you tired right after you use it. So that's something we can't rule out. I like how Karen and Wanda are watching and Nekomushi's down and they're like, yeah, but we can't really do anything either because we're weak as hell. But back to Luffy's reasoning though. I thought it was spectacular how he spun it. Again, how he tried to instill confidence in Momonosuke by talking about what he did. You just bit one of the 4 emperors. After doing that, is anything really scary? You have nothing to be scared about. The only thing people will be scared of is you. So Luffy is definitely growing and elevating as a leader now. Luffy does give pep talks every single arc, but this one felt a bit different. It felt contrived. And contrived may not be the perfect word, but it felt orchestrated. It felt like something that Luffy's actively going out of his way to do, as opposed to how Luffy typically is, where things fall into his lap. Maybe this is an evolution, maybe it's a regression. We don't know yet. We'll try it and we'll see what's going on. Zoro and Sanji, they're still fighting in the same vicinity. So while they're reacting to Momonosuke and him being the big ass dragon, they're fighting back to back. So they're protecting each other's blind side still. Sanji still doesn't have the suit on. So it's like, is this fight going to be continuously a tag team duo? Like, look how close they are to each other. So something will change to split up everyone just because that's how it is. I think that's really damn cool. Luffy's declaration, for whatever reason I believe him. Well, he's the main character, so obviously I'm going to believe him, but he says he will definitely beat Kaido. The reactions are priceless. Law being the same Law saying, where the hell has he been? Kid talking about you freaking better. Big Mom is laughing, mama, mama. You hear that? What a rambunctious brat. Tama's crying, Frankie's laughing, the prisoners of Udon, they're laughing. For the most part, everyone is in support of Luffy, and Luffy, I think the tides of the battle has shifted so much. Luffy has no choice but to win, but he knows he's taking a risk because as long as he's alive, anything is possible. And with Luffy, that's 100% the case. So what's going on here? What's going to happen with Kaido and Luffy? I think this is where Luffy wins. Of course, the fight is going to be dragged out, backstory, Zoro Sanji, King Queen, Fukukuju Raizo. None of those fights are going to end before this fight. I think the more important thing here is that Luffy, with his clash with Kaido, Luffy has elevated to the point that he is splitting the skies. Do you know how long we've waited for that moment? But do you know how amazing that is for Luffy? Which means that he stepped into the arena, he stepped onto that floor, but he 100% still loses to every other Yonko at this point, but he's firmly entrenched as a part of that group. That's since, bro, do you know how long we've been reading and watching One Piece? And now Luffy, the little kid that we saw, that we followed from the beginning of the story, he is now splitting the skies with another Yonko. If that's not greatness, I don't know what Shanks is talking about, but Luffy is 100% a great pirate. Now, who has Luffy surpassed? who will surpass Luffy. That will be in the description box down below because we get into that. I have seen some detractors where people are saying Luffy is growing too strong. The plot no me is strong, which for One Piece, there's always been a certain level of plot contrivance, especially when it comes to power-ups and battles. It's not as bad as some other series, but it definitely could use some work because it's just a lot of bright lights screaming and it's not doing anything. It's not going anywhere. But for Luffy's growth, it's a thing. It's always happened. So I'm at a point where I accept it, right? And Luffy has been training. He's been learning so many different new things. He's been defeated by Kaido twice before. After going through a lot of that stuff, it could change you. It molds you. It makes you better. Also for the Minks, because Luffy split the skies, now the Minks can go back to Sulong and then they can decimate Perospero and Jack. Something cool as well is that Luffy promised to take down Jack. With Luffy splitting the heavens, this led to Jack's defeat indirectly. Right? So Luffy in a way can still say, well, I defeated Jack because he was necessary. So that's really damn cool. I thought the Minks did their thing though. Perospero, he definitely impressed me. I have a different view of him as a character going forward. He was growing on me, right? The anime made him super charismatic. And then in the manga as well, it's like really cool to have actual wings, I guess. There was a character at the end there that we can talk about, and more than likely that character is Orochi. I can't think of anybody else. People are saying that is Blackbeard. Come on guys, it's clearly Orochi, right? So guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about this video? Well, how do you feel about the chapter? What did you like the most? And just give me your thoughts. But yeah, make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BroggoDAce. Follow me on Instagram, BroggoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much, guys. Like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.